Mr. Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm meaning to do this for a while. There are reasons why it hasn't been done, but it's now got to the point where it needs doing. So this Trident maples, there are 3 in the pot, I bought a while ago at the Staverton Bonsai boot sale. Now last year that was cancelled, the venue didn't work, and the new venue that they set up didn't work, so it didn't actually take place. This year it looks as though it's going to take place, and so far on the list of bonsai events it's shown as going ahead. It's in a totally different place, which is not too difficult for me to get to, not too far away, so I shall be going, providing it does continue. But anyway, I bought this as a set of 3. They were planted like this with the idea of fusing the trunks together to make a triple trunk. Now, quite honestly, if I'd wanted to do that with these 3 trees, I probably wouldn't have done big, middle, small. Looks a bit but nonetheless I decided that I'm not doing that anyway. These will be, when I get round to repotting them, individual trees. But I decided to air layer the big tree. And this is the air layer up here. I'm reasonably certain it has rooted, because I can see some roots through the bag. But we're in a position now where the tree above this air layer has put on so much growth that it can't be supported by what's in that little bag. So it needs putting in a pot. So for the first time ever, I'm going to undo an air layer that apparently has worked. Because the other air layers I've tried in the past have not worked. This is the first one that appears to be successful. So we will cut the wire, because I can't be bothered trying to undo it and unthread it. So, and then once we get this off the tree, I will, what's left, the 3 trees that are left, they were left to grow last year, and they've been growing on this year as well. And they're getting to the point now where perhaps some of the long extensions could do with coming back a bit and producing a bit more ramification, ready for training. These trees haven't been trained, they've had nothing done to them, basically. I think I've trimmed a few bits off at some point, but nothing much. Right, so that's the wire. I'm getting a little excited. I'm not an excitable person. I don't do the bouncing up and down. If I went to a football match and somebody scored a goal, I'd go, well done, because to me that's all that's necessary. We don't need to do the contorted face and leaping up and down and clenched fists. It's not necessary. It's just sheep doing what the person next to you is doing. So I don't do all that. I'm not an excitable person. But I'm more interested than excited as to what's going on in here. I do see roots, we do have roots. And I've got a feeling that what's inside this bag has got dry. That's why the top of the tree is starting to colour up. It's going into autumn, which it shouldn't be doing. No, this bag's not... Oh, look at these roots. And the moss is still wet, believe it or not. There is still moisture in this bag. So I'm going to try and ease the bag off gently on the grounds. I'm not going to disturb these roots. Oh, I know what's going wrong, why the bag won't come off. There's still a loop of wire around the base of the bag, down here. But somehow or other, we've got to get to the point where we cut the tree off. I'm going to get my scissors and see if I can trim the bag so that we can see the trunk, because at the moment I can't see the trunk. So if I wanted to cut it I couldn't, because I can't see where it is. So let's get the bag out of the way first. As I said, I'm winging this. I've not done this before. This is all new to me. So get the bag out of the way and you can see the trunk. There we go. Right, so now we can see the trunk. Now I'm hoping that that can come off with my secateurs, and I think the best thing I can do is take it off. The fact that I can't see the where I actually cut the bark off, I can't see that yet, doesn't matter. I can still take the top of this tree off where I can see it, and then we can get the bulk of it out of the way and have a look at what's left. Now I'm hoping my secateurs will take that off. I don't think maple is hardwood, so I need to be able to get hold of it. I need to be able to twist. There we go. So there's our little tree. Now we can get this out of the way. Oh. I'll bring that back in a minute because we'll have a little prune. Right, so, well now you can, that's a nice little root system, but that isn't really sufficient roots to be supporting this tree. Now what I've got to try and do, is it worth it? Will it cause more trouble? Yes, it's okay. I can now see the wire that's holding the bottom of the bag, so we can uncoil that. I really don't want to disturb these roots. When I pop this up in a minute, the moss is going to stay there. I'm not disturbing the roots. So we should now be able to pull the bag out. There we go. So, just going to tease that out gently, because obviously, if possible, I need to cut some more of this trunk off. So we will see if we can cut a bit further up without disturbing the roots too much. Coming slowly but surely. There we go. Gotcha. So that's taken us up into the place where the what's going on. I've managed to damage that root already. They're precious, every single one of them is precious. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out some of the leaves that have gone red. Because obviously they now don't photosynthesize, they've lost their green. That will reduce the foliage mass, which means the roots haven't got quite so much work to do. I'm only going to take the red ones off. As I said, this is showing signs of a bit of stress. As I say, probably it's just literally over the last week started to get warmer. We've had no warmth this year so far, so this has got off lightly. And right, so we've got a nice little tree here. A nice little tree. We've got enough roots in there to support this tree, I hope, once it gets in some media. So I'm quite pleased with that. There's a branch there that's died back, so we'll take that off. I can see that already. But apart from that, it's not too bad. Not too bad, as I said. The red leaves are not going to photosynthesize again. They won't turn back to green, so they just as well come off, leaving those that can photosynthesize and a reduced leaf mass, so the tree hasn't got to work so hard, and roots haven't got to work so hard. Pretty colours, but they shouldn't be that colour this time of year. Right, now what we need to do is reduce the extensions. take these extensions off. It's probably only those two for now. All the others are old wood. I think that will do. So we're now going to plant that. As I said, I'm going to leave the moss on so that what roots are left don't get disturbed much. And I'll do this in two parts, so I'll shut down now and then come back when I've got a suitable sized pot and some media to plant it in, and then we'll get it potted up. And then it can have a good watering, and then it can go in a nice shady spot to recover and hopefully start pushing out a better root system. These are not the same sort of roots that the tree needs to feed itself. These are more like anchor roots. They've got no feathery, no little, little hairy bits like feeder roots have. So they're more anchoring type roots. So right, so we'll have a bit of a clear up, get a pot, get some media, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got a pot. It's a little large, but then I'm hoping these roots are going to go mad. This is potting compost, Westland peat-free compost. It's got a load of grit added, and it's got some of my orchid mix that was left over from the last orchid repot that I did, which is basically bark, perlite and a bit of sphagnum moss. I took most of the moss out, but there's some bits left in there, they won't hurt. So that's my mix. It's very gritty, so it should drain well, but nonetheless it will hold moisture. Don't forget, we're not potting up a bonsai, this is a tree. It's a young tree with a relatively poor root system for the size of that tree. It's no different to buying a tree in a nursery, and it would be in a reasonable pot with this type of media. Possibly in a nursery, nowhere near as much grit. Yes, so that's what it's going to go in. Roots undisturbed. Need a bit more in the bottom. I'm just getting the height roughly right. Somewhere near like that, and then we will just put this in round the sides. As I said, there's not going to be much pressing down going on. We're just going to let this settle when I water it. Hopefully I've got enough. I could guess, obviously, but like it always is, we always guess, don't we? Gently press down the outsides to sort of firm it in towards the where the roots are. And obviously when I water this, it will settle everything down. Just teasing the moss away from the trunk at the top, because obviously the moss came up past the point where the air layer section started, and that is trunk with bark, and obviously that will be part of the bonsai above the ground level when we eventually get round to pot this in a bonsai pot. So I think that's okay. As I said, there's some nice form to this trunk. It's not bad at all. It's got some nice shape to it. It's had a trunk chop there. That's grown away nicely. So obviously we can position this in such a way that that becomes less obvious. And as time goes on, it would become less obvious anyway. So there we go. That's that bit done. Now all I've got to do is water that and find a shady spot and not forget it. Yeah? Because it's not going to be with the other trees. So it could easily be forgotten in warm weather and totally dry out. And it's not in a polythene bag now, so I need to take care with that. Not too soggy, and not allowed to dry out. So that's that bit done. Now, what about what's left? Ugh. Effectively here, we've got 3 trees. So let me just back up a bit here, so you can see a bit more about what's going on. Get up there a bit, something like that. So what we've got here now is this larger tree on the right hand side that's now had a trunk chop. So that now needs to have a leader chosen. This looks like a reasonable candidate. It's already incredibly long. Come down a bit. Have we got anything more suitable? Quite honestly, there's quite a thick branch there. Yes, that's it. That's the new leader here. It's already pointing upwards, and it's the thickest of the branches. See, this one could be, but that one comes out at a right angle. This one comes out at an angle. So that's the new leader. So we now need to do a trunk chop next to that. None of this is exact or precise. This is just to get a rough shape and put the energy into the parts of the tree I wish to keep. So we'll take that off there. And that's our trunk chop. And that'll do for now. I'm not going to try and tidy it up or anything. We'll just let that grow. And then we need to look at, this is, we've got a, coming down here we have a potential first branch here. Unfortunately that's quite a small branch. This one's a bit thicker, so that might be a better first branch, but then we end up with quite a lead. So I think we will try and grow that on. So to put the energy into that branch, we reduce some of the others. I'm just doing this roughly at the moment so that I can see what I'm working with. That can become part of the apex. Obviously we will need growth up there. See, this could be a lead, this could be a leader. We could reduce the trunk down to here instead of letting it come up here, but then these branches are quite good, quite a good size, and we've got this very large branch coming out the back which we'll take off. So that'll do for now. That's reduced the area, and we leave our long leader. We'll just take the very top of it out. The idea being that this waggles about a bit in the wind, which hopefully will help thicken the trunk. So that's tree number 1. Tree number 2 got chopped right down here and already has a leader that's done a very strange shape. It's come out sideways and then gone bolt upright. But at an angle, if you picture this trunk, this piece here, over at an angle, then this piece comes out at an angle and then goes out at another angle. That's not brilliant. Not happy with that, but it'll have to do for now. And then the small one next to it also had a trunk chop. Come back here, we might be able to see it better. And this one has pushed up a brilliant leader. Dead straight, yeah? So this can be wired. This is a small enough tree to wire. And the extension of the trunk is literally heading upwards. And at the moment it's far too long. So we'll take that one off. Now we've got to work out which branches are on which piece of tree. Where does this one go? That one's on this little tree that we're looking at. So we'll need that to branch. Same here. The easiest way is to just take all the long extensions back, make them branch. see what we're working with. Now, although this is a leader, it's on a tree that's not a very good shape at all. So bad I might not even keep it. So we shall see. But we'll take it off in a place where it's already branching. And that leaves this one over here, which is the leader for this one, which we will lead. We've already taken the top out. So a lot less foliage in here now, and this can go back out where it was. There's nothing changed for this. It missed its chance to get repotted this year. The leaves were well open before I was in a position to deal with it. But yeah, hopefully next year when we get to repotting time we can separate these out and do something with them. Make them into trees that are usable. Well, 2 of them will be trees that are usable. I'm not that keen on the 3rd one, I must admit. So there we go. We've got something to be worked on in the future, and a potential bonsai not far off in the making. Not far off at all. We've got a trunk shape that's reasonable. Hopefully the roots will progress this year, and you know, we've got photosynthesis, should produce more roots should produce more shoots. There's still time for all that to happen. It's only the middle of June after all. So we'll see how that progresses, and then next year we'll probably leave it in its pot rather than try and get it straight in a bonsai pot. Make sure we've established a really good root system, ready for the following year probably. And we can start training, getting some ramification. We can do all that prior to it going in a bonsai pot. So there we go, my first successful air layer. Well, the air layer is successful. Whether it will be a successful bonsai tree remains to be seen. That can only happen with time, like all bonsai. Prior to the time progressing, it's a stick in a pot. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.